And we
And
are
we are
live.
live, I think.
Yep, we're live.
We're live.
Got it.
Okay.
12 seconds worth of live so far.
Excellent.
Do we look good?
We always look good.
Okay. We got a few people in already. We got
Nice.
Bex saying hi.
Hello.
Hi, Bex.
Hi, Bex.
Hello, Bex. Hey.
All right. Well, do we want to wait a few minutes before we kick it off, or?
Yeah, we'll do a little quick bit of random banter amongst ourselves.
Okay, we'll do a random banter. We'll give people time to actually join us.
Yeah. So how's everybody doing? Are we all good tonight? Or morning for our overseas people?
Yes. Are we enjoying the heat?
Or the freezing
Oh,
cold,
it sucks.
depending where we are.
I purposely came into this room because it's the coldest room in the house. And it's I'm still sweating. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
I
So
see
even the
Phantom
cold spots
Seekers.
can't help me.
Phantom Seekers Paranormal are on, so they're from Edinburgh, so they're going to be very cold right now from what I'm reading about what's going on in the UK.
Seen some this way.
Yeah.
How did they describe that weather, Amy? I saw an article that said it would be double-fisted snowstorm.
I'm sure that, there's a few English people that have had...
Why would you describe it like that? Why?
Oh.
Very
Hello
odd.
to Sam, who's come on.
Sam?
Must be a
Yes.
different Sam.
Different Sam. Oh, Phantom Seeker says, very high winds, horizontal rain, trampolines flying. It's pretty much common, isn't it, for Scotland? Really?
Sounds like New
Here's
Zealand,
a
really.
tip. When it's very high winds, it's a good opportunity to get rid of your unwanted stuff. You just throw it over the fence to your neighbour's house, and no one will ever know because you can just blame the weather.
There you
And they go, "Is this yours?" You go, "No, it's not my trampoline."
Yeah. Speaking of wind, I am in windy Wellington at the moment, so not very much wind here, just lots of heat and no water. They are taking their water restrictions very seriously. So,
Really?
so
Wellington?
I'm just on Coke at the moment because, there should be some rum in it.
You can pop into James's place for a shower or something.
Oh, yes. I think he'd love that if I just knock on his door. Okay.
Just show up in a towel.
Yeah. And some soap. Yeah. Okay, well, there's 10 people live. Okay. Oh, well, welcome, everybody. Welcome. We just thought we would do a bit of an impromptu sort of random chat to anybody that wants to join us and just sort of run through some of the things we did through 2023. It was a really busy year for us. We achieved a lot and we saw a lot and we did a lot. So we thought we'd just sort of revisit a few of those things and just sort of chat about some of the things we did because it was quite a lot to take in, I guess. And we've already started building up our calendar for this year. So we thought we'd just check back on last year and chat about some of the things we did. So, January. I think the first thing we did, it was Sam, Amy and I, we kicked off the new year with a visit to the old Bastion Point generator room. Scrambled down the cliff there and made our way into the murky tunnel, which was a good one. Thoughts on that, guys? It was both of you. It was the first time for both of you guys.
Yeah,
I was graceful as anything going down that cliff. Oh my God.
Like a gazelle.
Yeah. We know we can do it now. It's all about we're cave explorers or even World War II bunker explorers, A very intriguing place, and there's a lot of them around Auckland City that are accessible and non-accessible. I just love for that tunnel to actually be a little bit more accessible and a little bit easier to explore. Put it that way.
Yeah. It's the problem with
It was
those inner
just,
city tunnels. You can only get in so far, and then it stops. It's all sort of caved in or being blocked in. There's only so far you can go. So it's a bit of a tease, really, for those of us that want to
that's it.
explore them.
Yeah, you go in and then you see that collapsed bit with all the metal grate pushed forward, and you're sort of like, I just want to know what's behind it. But it's such a massive collapse that just a spade is just not going to cut it, trying to find out what's behind there. Like,
Yeah. But it was a nice way to kick off the year anyway. I enjoyed it. I enjoy going there. I usually go once every year or two, so it was good for you guys to actually just see it anyway and get to see it firsthand.
I mean, I
And
found it
it's
quite
very,
intriguing as well. I mean, not everybody likes graffiti, but
that's what I was going to say.
there was some historical bits of graffiti on the wall from, well, I think 73, wasn't it? 1973, and there was a few names on there, and
Yeah.
you often wonder who those people actually are and who they turned out to be, if they're still around at all.
Yeah.
Well, underneath all that graffiti, there's actually graffiti from the war times with people that actually worked in there. So, but that's been covered up since. So it's a lot of history destroyed there, unfortunately. Yeah. Just making my way through the little calendar list here we've got here. Then in January, the ladies went off to Harrington Theatre.
Yeah.
That's a place we're going to visit again, hopefully this weekend or very soon. So yeah, can you tell us about that one? I haven't been there yet, and Sam hasn't been.
It's a small local theatre, but it's very interesting. A lot of locals, when you talk to them, will just say, "Oh no, that place it creeps me out." And even I was talking to the daughter of my nail technician the other day, and I mentioned that we were looking at going back there this year, and she went, "Oh yeah, when I was there, when I was downstairs in such and such," and and everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a story from it, and it's just fascinating, and I love that.
We
Yeah. Go on, Natasha.
I got the info on it from dance mums at work, and they always said it's creepy. And then if you look into the history of it, look up the Oddfellows.
Yeah.
That probably explain a few things why it's so creepy, because it was an Oddfellows lodge before it was passed on to the theatre group in Puki.
And that's what fascinated us, because the story of the spirit there was actually a young girl in a white dress, and we're going, what does this have to do with a male society? Like, what is it? And it's as you start looking into the other uses of the building over time within the Franklin community, it becomes more apparent. But it's a really interesting place. It could still be from that.
Could be from the Oddfellows. They do have some odd rituals. If you look them up, then you'll understand. Yeah.
But that was great, and I'm looking forward to going back there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It looks like a good one. It reminded me of the Playhouse Theatre in Glen. Very similar to that. Same sort of vibe.
I was saying to Sam before, I'm looking forward to, because when we were there last time, we captured the sound of someone walking on the stage above our head. We were in the downstairs green room, and it was Barbara and I downstairs. Natasha was way at the back, miles away in the tech lab technicians area. And so it was sort of like, okay, that was definite footsteps. You heard it above you. It was almost like there was weight on it, like the stage was creaking. So it's sort of, I'll be interested if anything like that happens again. So it'll be quite cool.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything, but you would have heard me walk down from basically the booth up the back. You would have heard me walk down. Later. But then I think you yelled out to me, or you messaged me or something, and I came straight down, and I'm like, what's happening? And they're like, oh, there's someone walking on the stage. It's like, it wasn't me. No. And whatever it is didn't set off my door chime thing. So
no.
So we had
we're very high tech. We use one of those door chimes like you have in the corner dairy shop.
Yep.
Very high tech.
Ding dong. Please come again.
Sometimes it's the simple gadgets that work the best, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to work and what's going to be useful to you.
Try.
And your camera fell over as well, which was very odd, because I was on one side of the stage, you're on the other side of the stage, and your camera just went.
Tripod just went. Yeah.
Not today, girl. Not today. Luckily, your camera was alright. But
there's more cameras to bring along this time, so we'll be able to capture it from all angles if it happens again.
They'll have 2 decent night vision ones as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Haley's just put a comment that she had an experience at the Harrington, so that's quite
cool.
Oh, good.
Should send
Keen
it
to
to
hear
them.
any stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to document these things. It's all about the stories. Yeah.
Build up
Brilliant.
some history and things of the place. There is an odd feeling. I don't know if because you're below ground in the dressing rooms, because it's a bit damp and dank down there, really. But
it definitely feels like it's got a different vibe to other little local halls, like there's the Onifero Osper Hall and things like that, and that's got a different feeling to what is at Harrington. So not sure. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, well, that was pretty much January, and I did manage to slot in a couple of sneaky visits back to the Carrington Psychiatric Hospital just to take photographs of some of the buildings that are slowly being demolished there, keeping track of that one. And I went back to the old Howick Historical Village too for my sort of start of the year. I usually go at the end of the year or the start of the year back to there to visit Puanui Homestead and spend some time there talking to the residents and just documenting it a little bit further. Hopefully one day we'll get back in there again officially. So that was January. It was quite a busy January, actually. I think we got a little bit productive during the Christmas holidays, which was nice. Of course, we entered the new year. It was in March. In March, we were featured in American Paranormal magazine as well. We got a 3-page spread on that. That was quite nice. It's always nice to be approached by an overseas publication and saying, hey, we'd like to do a feature about you guys and send us some photos and tell us all about yourself, and we'll put it all in there. So that was great. It's got us a few more followers and all that. And April, on to April now. That's when we released the new shirt logo. Natasha's got the logo behind her there, and she's wearing one there. We officially released the new shirt with the new look, bit of an upgrade, I think, just to sort of prepare for the name change. And they were printed by a good friend of mine in Wellington, Brendan Mabley. If you're watching, Brendan, thanks, mate. Yeah, done an amazing job. They look really good. So we've got the new shirts out. So that's really good. April was a big one for us as well, because we all headed off to Melbourne. We all jumped on a plane and headed off to Melbourne and spent time investigating a few locations around the place. It was brilliant. It was really good. Great fun. Sam and I investigated the Kilmore Jail, which was absolutely fantastic. I want to thank Jackie, one of the tour guides there who sorted it for us, from the mystic realm of Jackal. That's the little tour name that she uses. And she arranged it all for us and gave us the keys and basically showed us around and gave us free reign of the place, which was amazing. And also, Bill Tabone.
Jail, wasn't it?
Oh, awesome. It was fantastic. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. And it was nice to have just a bit of free reign to it, to just do it whatever we wanted to there and check it all out. And of course, thanks to Bill Tabone over there as well, who organised it all and got in touch with them and sort of sorted it out for us. So really appreciate that, Bill. It was a great experience. And of course, during the daytimes, we all sort of went off and did our little touristy things and checked out some of the locations. Amy, what did you saw a few places? Penrith?
I went to Pentridge, which is well worth going. So, I mean, Pentridge is an old prison, but it's now been updated. So it's got like housing and cafes and things, but it's got the old prison walls and features and everything's all built into the housing estate as such. And also it does tours, these brilliant tours of all the different parts. And I just loved it. Like I ended up in this jail area, and me and my friend Kelly and the tour guide were the only ones in this whole place. We had it all to ourselves and we're walking around. You have little headphones and it plays you the noise and you're hearing about what Chopper Read got up to and all those things. And it was just such a brilliant experience and a chance to take your own, voice recordings and bits and pieces because there's no one else there. So that was lovely. And then that was offset with Melbourne jail as well, went to the old Melbourne jail, which I think the rest of you also did it at different times as well, I think. Was it that right, Sam?
Enjoyed that.
I went to Melbourne.
Yeah.
I went to Melbourne jail.
Yeah.
It's great. Great place. Yeah.
But what was more interesting with Melbourne jail was this big brick building that stood out to me for some reason, which is right outside Melbourne jail. And I came back and there was this whole documentary, and 2 police officers were blown up by a car bomb outside that building. That used to be Melbourne Central Police Station. And I was like, holy, what? There's this massive brick building. And I'm like, I was fixated on it. I didn't really care about the jail that much. It's just like, what's that building? I don't know.
And then Natasha and I also went to Geelong jail, which was fantastic. We did an investigation there with the team there, and it was just phenomenal. It was so good. They had all the equipment, and you went around the places. And what was funny was, you went into the morgue and they were really selling how scary it was, and you could lay on the morgue table. And unfortunately, we'd all been to Arrowdale like the day or two before that. And of course, Arrowdale was so exciting. We'll talk to that. I'll let Mark talk to that later. But yeah, so we're like, morgue table. Been there, done that.
I think I played dead for one of the tours because we kind of mucked up. We went for the earlier tour because the communication wasn't that great. So we did 2 tours. So we did the normal tour, and then we ended up doing the actual ghost hunting tour afterwards. So we got 2 tours for one.
We kind of broke into the historical tour that we weren't meant to be on, but they let us on it anyway. Like, fun.
Meant to be there.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, so we saw quite a bit of Melbourne. Sam and I sort of jumped on some of the trams and went to some of the big historical buildings there, which was neat. I haven't been to Melbourne for many, many years, so it was just good to get back there and just see all these things I never knew existed. Amazing. But the night after that, we went to Arrowdale. Di DeLong and crew graciously gave us generously gave us a good 7 hours to investigate the Arrowdale jail. Incredible place, huge, massive multi-building area. It takes up a lot of space, a lot of buildings, and they had ghost tours running at the same time, but a different part of the complex. So yeah, we pretty much got most of the place to ourselves, didn't we? It was really good. We sort of it was just too much to take in. It was just a vast place with no power running, and you're just walking through hallways and sitting in rooms in complete darkness. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Very easy to get lost in Arrowdale, I found. And I still believe it probably deserves a second run for us, because I'm sure there were still places that we were given the tour of, but we just couldn't remember the way back to find those sorts of rooms and places that we as I say, one level looked exactly the same as the next level in some of the buildings, so it was very very mind-boggling. It's very easy to get lost.
Though.
Yeah, it's designed to be like that. Between that and the ha-ha walls.
Yeah.
I think we probably need a couple of nights there, actually, because of all the different buildings. I don't think we actually got to all the different buildings.
No, we didn't.
We did a quick whip around of most of the buildings, but we didn't really get to go around all of the buildings.
I mean, 7 hours we were there. 7 hours we were there, and we still didn't see. I think we probably saw half of it, didn't we? Probably half, maybe.
Yeah.
That's that.
I mean, the nurses' quarters itself is like what, 4 or 5 stories high?
3 stories, yeah.
Yeah.
And we were we were backwards and forwards in that building.
We definitely have to go back, I think, and
revisit. Of course, it's every part of the asylum, isn't it? It just screams of that sort of setting. It was old. It was, it wasn't touched up. It was sort of left as you would expect it to, just low level maintenance, like the paint coming off the walls, and it just really fit the part, I found. Not that means that a place is going to be haunted, because it looks like it's left to the elements a bit, but it certainly had that feeling about it. Although for us, it was a very quiet night. Uh, there wasn't a lot of action as far as the boys were concerned. I think you ladies had a few things happen as well.
We had a few things. Like there were two instances where there were doors that were very much locked. So one of them was like it was like the big dumbwaiter type. I don't know, but a really big room type one with the dumbwaiter, and the lady had sort of shown us, the tour guide had shown us it, and then made a big thing of really slamming it shut and making sure it was shut and all those kind of things. And a bit later on, when we went back, that door was open, and no one had been through there, and it was very much open kind of thing. And also, there was the door that you found, Natasha, near the end of the night.
Yeah, you know the room we set up our first communication session in? It was a hydrotherapy room, but originally it was the ECT room, and there was a door on the right-hand side, which went into the stairwell. Well, I checked that door when we went in, and it wasn't open. But when we came back around, the door was open. We went downstairs, and it's kind of like, I don't think we're supposed to be down here, because we saw all the cracks in the walls and stuff, and we're like,
it looked like an area upstairs. That was out of the bounds.
Yeah, it was basically. I think it was a pharmacy, because it looked like where they would divvy out the pills. Like obviously it had like grated counter, and I think it was the pharmacy down there for the patients.
And I mean, I had my first real experience of an actual apparition there, in that I turned and I looked and I saw what I instantly recognized to be a woman in the on the second floor, sort of in the center lounge room in the staff quarters. And I looked over my shoulder, and I just knew it was a woman, but it wasn't features, it wasn't clear, it wasn't like just a big shadow, it was just something just in your head. You recognize that shape, and it was a woman. And it was interesting. And it was just there fleetingly and then gone.
We both saw that shadow move though as well. There was like it was like a bathroom, so we were coming in one side of the bathroom, and there was a door on the other side of the bathroom, and we definitely saw a shadow of somebody, and we couldn't replicate that.
The guide was stood with the door behind her talking to us. This was during broad daylight, just giving us the general tour, and we saw the shadow moving behind her, and we were like, okay. And we did. To be able to replicate a shadow of that size and that movement, the person had to be directly right behind her, in a way that we would have seen a person very much, and also they would have been coming from one locked door and walking through another locked door on the other side behind her to be able to make that movement flow. So that was quite interesting, because I mean, that was broad daylight.
Of course, we didn't get it on camera.
We didn't. We just missed it.
Always the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Hey, can we do a few welcomes? I see a few sort of familiar names there. I see Tanya Newton. Tanya, hello. Good to see your name up there again. Eileen's there, and Lawrence is there from Highland Paranormal. That means Liam won't be too far behind.
I think Liam's been on.
Is he? Yeah, he'll be working now. It's their morning there now. And Jeremiah's, Alberto.
And we had Rob there as well.
Rob
from the Nobodies.
Oh, Rob's there. Okay.
I will say, if anyone is all, there's those people out there that are always looking for podcasts. If you are interested in history and possibly slightly drier podcasts in a way, there is one called Behind the Walls of the World Psychiatric. I think it's Psychiatric Institutions or something like that. But yeah, it's Dr. Sarah Gallup, and she actually works with people with mental illness over in the States. But she talks about all the different asylums around the world and does these in-depth histories of key people that live there and interesting stories and how they were designed. And so she's done like 5 podcast parts on Arradale, which was quite cool. So it's worth having a look if anyone's interested.
And Bill Tabone's written a book about it as well.
Oh yeah, it's a good book.
He wrote a really good book about it, so it's recommended. And Vicky's here. Hello, Vicky Weir's in the house. Hey, Vicky, long time no see.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's Liam. There he is. He's multitasking. And Haley. Oh, okay, Haley witnessed the Mr. Smiley rolling down the stairs. Very good.
Right.
That was at
Yes.
the pump house, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a good one there. That was the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah, my last one.
That was a good session. That was really good. We had Bronwyn. Bronwyn was there, and she was had a crystal ball out in the green room there, and she had people just entranced for hours. Yeah, I sort of poked my head in a few times and have a look around, and people were just really getting into it. It was really good. Good to see something different. Fantastic. So I think she might be bringing it along for the next pump house event. So possibly,
which is coming up soon, guys.
Yeah, have you getting your tickets in? Tickets are. Oh, I don't know what they. I haven't asked about how many we've got left, but they do sell out pretty quickly. So get in there if you want to come along and join us. Be good fun. So what else we got here? So May. So Airedale, yeah, and then in May we did a Helensville Museum revisit, and we did a sleepover there. So we slept the night there. I think we did an event, didn't we? Was that last year that we did the event?
That might have been the year before.
Yeah, we did the sleepover.
We were debating that earlier.
Yeah.
We only did the sleepover there.
Was that the sleepover that your video camera caught footsteps walking past on the balcony outside your room, Natasha?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were all in separate rooms all over the place, fast asleep on camera. Clearly not us.
Yeah. And it was also the occasion that one of the doors opened up while we were doing a communication session.
That's right. Yeah, in Headley House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the one into the storage room in the back?
Into the storage room. And I mean, we were pretty confident that the door was closed. But it could have been a draft, we decided, possibly. But yeah. Was it? Do you remember whether it was raining that night, wasn't it?
It was quite windy.
It was quite windy, yeah. So it could have been a free gust of wind.
Which is why the footsteps were weird, because it didn't sound like the rest of the recording that I had of me snoring in the wind outside. I was sleeping over the Pentagon though.
Yeah.
Pentagram, sorry, Pentagram.
I slept in Headley House, though. I slept alongside the hallway sort of thing, and my overnight camera definitely picked up a sound that sounds like, when you've got one of those round doorknobs of someone going so it sounded like the doorknob rattling, and now that could have been wind, it could have been a draft, but it sounded more like the doorknob was rattling rather than the door was rattling. You couldn't hear a door rattle, you could hear a doorknob rattle, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
but the door never opened after that.
You kind of need a voice to accompany that saying, "Let me in."
Yeah.
Okay.
If only.
That would be cool. That'd be cool.
I have that at home all the time. It's the cat, though, unfortunately. Feed me.
There was, however, a local that was walking around the museum just before we were settling down, and he had noticed our torches.
Yeah.
And he did ask, "Oh, are you guys all right?" And I said to him, "Look, we're filming a documentary. No, nothing to see here."
Yeah.
And it's okay, just looking after the place.
Yeah.
The footsteps were at 3:00. I remember waking up, and in true paranormal person fashion, I verbally said the time out loud that I heard the footsteps, put my phone back down, and then went back to sleep. There's none of us running around looking for people. So I don't think it would have been him, because it was very late. It was early morning rather than straight after we went to sleep.
Yeah.
I could find out the time. I'm pretty sure I've got the timestamp somewhere in here. So but it was interesting.
So that was May. That was good. Then also in May you went back to Kentish.
Yeah, we got a video. They sent us a video of an unusual occurrence that was caught on just the normal security camera of a glass almost appearing to sort of lift and flip and fall over. So they wanted us to come have a look at that, which was really quite cool. So we sat there and we shook and we jiggled some things and we looked at it and all that kind of thing. And
Great.
I think we made a little video of that, didn't we? We put it up on the YouTube if anyone wants to see the
video.
video.
You didn't debunk it though, did you? You didn't debunk it.
We couldn't debunk it. We could see how potentially you could think that maybe it was just the glass was on the rack funny, but the way it fell seemed not easy to debunk. It was just when you watch in slow-mo, watch the glass. So definitely worth watching. Yeah, just watch because it's got the original footage on the video that we made. Just have a little look at it.
It was in a different part of the bar. It was behind the bar, not on the bar. Like I think it was the year before we slept over at the Kentish, and they had an entire tray or something fall off the bar of glasses.
Vicky's just asked if they're having a bit of activity, quite a lot at the Kentish. It sort of comes and goes at the Kentish, and I think a lot of people ascribe it to potentially Kate, who is a well-publicized female ex-landlady ghost there. But there is potential that it's not actually her and that it's actually someone else a bit more recent. But for the purposes of respect for that person's family and that sort of thing, we don't actually talk about who it is or anything like that. But we have our thoughts, and it's possibly more likely to be that person than Kate, I think, if it was spirit.
Or people, because of the renovations, they moved some memorial photographs from the bar where they usually would be. So potentially it's someone a bit younger than Kate.
Patricia, hello Patricia, who says she loves the paranormal, and she's had an encounter. So we would love to hear your encounter. Just send us a message, and we'd love to hear your stories. Right, so big one for June for Amy.
Yes,
Amy went to the UK.
Went back to the UK, so I was born there, so hung out with my family, went to a few different places, and got to have one of those fangirl moments when I went on a Most Haunted event and got to meet Yvette Fielding in person. It was so exciting. And I've got video recordings and footage now where I still think it's funny. I listen back to it, and there we are doing a communication session, and we're talking. And there's Yvette Fielding, doing this communication session with me and doing table tipping with Glenn from Most Haunted. And, I'm like, oh my God, my little pinky finger's touching Glenn. This is so exciting. And it's just such a stupid fangirl moment. But it was like, I grew up watching Most Haunted, and it was fab. And I mean, that was at Stockport, just on the outside of Manchester at a guild hall. And I was doubly interested in it because it used to be an old school hall as well, but also now related to the Freemasons. And I mean, my dad's a Mason over here, so it was sort of like, I'm just interested in if there's going to be connections, if there's going to be anything like that. And it was just a really lovely event, and tried lots of things, and it was just great to see a public event that someone else is running and how they're running it and what are they using and that kind of thing. So I loved that. And just touring around, I went to a whole ton of different locations, castles, went to the caves in Nottingham, which were just phenomenal. I got there so early. I was the first person in, and there was only me in these caves. It was so good. But yeah, and the other awesome opportunity was Retford Ghost Hunters took me out for the evening, and they picked me up, and because backstory is I'm originally from Retford, that's where all my family are from. So they picked me up and we started driving, and I had no idea where we're going, and it's sort of like an hour later I'm like, oh, was this a bad idea? Are they going to leave me in the middle of nowhere? And we ended up at this sort of quarry site that I'd never heard of, and it's one that they go to fairly regularly and that sort of stuff, and they had all their equipment out, and just seeing how they used it on this really large outdoorish site, because a lot of things, doors blown off and roofs off and all that kind of stuff, and just fabulous. Such a funny bunch of people, who were just so jovial and so lovely, but also so respectful in the way they went about investigating, and just included me straight from the get-go. It was just lovely. So really, and I mean, they are very prolific. They're out multiple times a week. They've got all their videos, their streams. They're always in the news. I love it when they're like challenging Ricky Gervais to come out with them. And it's like they're always in the Sun or something like that, with the latest photo they've got or whatever. And I mean, they just love what they do. It's just wonderful. So
it's nice
that was
to go and hang out with other teams, though, isn't it, as well? Teams that maybe do things a little bit differently than we would do things, and just listen to their stories and watch their techniques and their approach. And it's great.
It was great. And I also, when I was at Nottingham Castle, I was just filling in some time, and I was walking around and I did the tour. And I'm going to show my ignorance now. I can't remember, but they had a part where I should know this. One guy, he was the lover of the new King Edward's mum, I think it was. I can't remember. And they took him away anyway, down this pathway, and killed him eventually and all this stuff. But the whole time I was there, I just had this urge that I wanted to take a little rock or a little stone or something like sandstone home with me. And so I very carefully looked around and took this teeny tiny little rock with me, just bent down as if I'm tying my shoelace, and took this little rock and took it back with me. And I got home to my hotel and laid on the bed and all these sorts of things. And later that night, I had a shower. I came to go to bed. I pulled back the bed sheets that were all perfectly made, and there under my sheets was my rock. That was not where my rock had been. My rock had been in my zipped up pocket of my jacket that was way on the other side of the room. And I thought, that's a bit creepy. But anyway, I've still got my magic rock from the walkway cave. But that was awesome. But yeah. So sometimes these things are just, they happen. Oh, and I loved going to the old ship from Jerusalem, that one. The old trip, wasn't it? The old trip with the old dusty ship inside. Yeah. That was cool.
Interesting, with all the little alcoves and
I was very tempted to try and touch it. That's, when they say if you touch it you'll die, that's just a challenge, isn't it? You just
accepted.
Yeah.
Gonna die anyway.
I know. They put it very high to try and stop people like me touching it, I think. Yeah.
Is that like that chair in one of the pubs in England of one of the guys that got hung? If you sit in that chair, you would die because it's his chair.
They've got a special chair in the old trip, I think, but I think it's the one that makes you pregnant instead. I don't think it's the one that makes you die.
Don't sit on that one.
No. Yeah,
it didn't work.
It's a bad idea.
Did you sit on it, Mark?
I sat on it. I'm still without child.
Yeah, they do good.
It was rather invasive, but.
So that was awesome. It was really good, sort of following Amy's travels on that one. It was awesome. And then later on, soon after that, I travelled down to Dunedin and met up with Bruce Mahalski from Dunedin Strange Occurrences Society. He also runs the Dunedin Museum of Natural Mystery. And he took me out to the Dunback Inn, where we got to meet the owner, Liz Moore, who was an amazing woman who has run the pub for many years, and it's an incredible old pub. And we spent the night there. She put us up. She gave us rooms and fed us dinners, and it was just wonderful hospitality. And we just stayed a full night and just filmed and talked and sat in the corridors, and amazing place. I'd love to take the team down one day and spend another night there, because it's just very quirky, very unusual, lots of bits and pieces everywhere, and it's just sort of it's a real mishmash of all sorts of antiques and styles and hoardings as well. They sort of there's just things everywhere. That's an amazing place. Okay, June we did a pump house event. That was the first pump house event for the year there, I think. That was in June. That was a good one. That was a really interesting one. I think it was just who would we have for that? It was just Sam, myself, and And
I think me and Kaya, was it?
Oh,
Might
was
have
it
been,
really?
yeah.
Oh, because we did a couple that year, didn't we? We did a couple.
Yeah.
So it would have been that one. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was great. That was great fun. Again, it sold out pretty much straight away, and really good crowd. It's always nice when the people that turn up are fun and really into it. So it was a good fun night. I really enjoyed it. I'm actually enjoying all the little events that we do now. It's
Yeah.
we get some good people turning up.
Yeah, we've had some really good crowds lately. People that are really into it, and then that's what I enjoy is people that ask lots of questions and really get into it and get involved and love what we do.
Yeah,
Makes it a lot easier for us.
June. That's when we released the latest book. So the new book came out. That was the Haunted Auckland book that came out in June. And that was very well received. A lot better than I thought it would be, actually. It's most of the sales have been from over the UK and Australia, and outside of Auckland. So that's been quite interesting. So that was a fun book to put together, and it's basically just covered all the haunted locations that we've been to or want to go to, or that may have been here in Auckland. I thought I'd cover that since it's where we come from. So I thought I'd cover that city, being the largest city in the country. So it was a great book to put together. A lot of fun, and it was very well received. So I'm happy about that. So I've started work on the next one now, which is going to cover the South Island. That's my next big project. In July, we joined the Ghost Planet Network, which is a TV station on Roku. That's put together by Neil Packer, who owns the Paranormal Research Centre in Hinckley. He's also the one that organised the Parameet 2023, which I spoke at with some amazing speakers, and a lovely guy. He's so proactive and so enthusiastic and motivated, and just does so much. So alongside creating events, he's and running a paranormal research centre, which is an incredible place. He also runs a television station. So a lot of our videos have been uploaded to that, and it's all done through Roku. I think you need a special Roku stick or something on your TV to sort of pick it up, some sort of channel, but you can get it for free on a phone app as well, apparently now. So that's good. So it means that our work is sort of getting out there, and I think he was more interested in the more New Zealand stuff at the moment, and but he wants to sort of start featuring some of the Australian and UK things that are on our channel. So yeah, gets our name out there a little bit more, which is nice. August, we headed off to Whatapu again. Little ongoing research area that we've quite fascinated by. We sort of go back and spend time in the old haunted caves and the Gibbons homestead again. We always end up there staying a night. So that was fun. Sam,
it's good to have Jeff come along as well. Meeting Jeff, another member of Paranormal New Zealand, join us.
Yep. He's a newbie.
Bit of a newbie yet, and obviously Natasha was there as well. Second time around for you.
Yeah.
But it was also interesting to find out that Mark and I were Whatapu legends, apparently.
Yeah.
When the guy running the Gibbons homestead turned around to us when we said we were going to go trekking towards the caves, and he said, "Don't end up like those two jokers who had to be brought back by helicopter." And for those who don't know, that was us. We are those jokers that had to be brought back by helicopter. So interesting. But a highlight for me as well was talking about Whatapu to Jeff and mentioning a lady in white that has been seen walking along the beach, along the waterfront, and seeing Jeff's face just turn pale. And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "There's a story of a lady in white seen on the beach." He goes, "I never told anybody about that." I said, and I don't think anybody else had heard the story either, so I don't know where I had got the story from, but Jeff explained to us that he and his wife had seen a lady in white along the beach when they were going for a stroll one evening, and very distinctively a woman wearing a a white dress and shaggy hair, like as if she had been in the water. And as they walked towards it, it was a pole standing up in the sand, and it wasn't a woman at all. So he brushed it off. And then he tried to find the pole again. I don't know whether it was the following day or a few days later, and the pole was nowhere to be seen either.
Yeah.
So it coincides possibly with a lot of missing persons in the area, or a lot of the tragedies that have happened in the area as well.
Well, it's the Coast of Ghosts, isn't it?
It is the Coast of Ghosts.
The Coast of Ghosts.
Good old Orpheus.
Yep.
Huia was quite cool to walk around, little Huia, like walking up to the dam and having a look around there.
The dam was
Nice
incredible.
little bonus.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what did we do there? Then in August as well, we did another pump house event. That was in August, and that was another packed house and another fun event. That was really good. That was good fun. September, that's when I headed off to the UK to do Parameet and travel around the UK. It's something I love doing. The UK is it's my home away from home. It's where I think I'm meant to be, really. I have family over there now, so that's good. But yeah, I was invited to speak at Parameet, which was brilliant, and I got to speak alongside some amazing other speakers like Penny Morgan and Neil Story, and just people that I've enjoyed watching on the internet and on YouTube, and I've enjoyed their books and listening to their stories and all that. So I got to meet a whole lot of people, as well as got to hang out again with a lot of my crazy old mates over there, like Lorian and Jacqueline Dixon, and just all these crazy people. And I went on investigations. I had we were there for about 3 weeks. No, it was a month, actually. It was a month, 4 weeks. And we just traveled around investigating and seeing the sites. And so many lovely people, all my old friends came out and showed me out, took me out on special days and day trips and night trips and all that. Jacqueline Dixon from Paranormal Path and Eileen Murray from Phantom Seekers Paranormal, they took me out for a day and showed me some old cemeteries and churches and landmarks and things, which was fantastic, great fun. Liam Shand from Highland Paranormal, his team took me out for a night in Scotland, and that was brilliant, absolutely great fun. Until Ruthven Barracks, it was fantastic. The guys old Rigger and his crew, Dave and all them from Spigger, which is the Scottish Paranormal Investigation Group. They took me out and we did Buchanan Castle, which is an old ruin of a castle hidden away in the bush, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Blew my mind away. It was just incredible, an amazing place. So fantastic to see those sort of sites that you just don't get to see that sort of thing here. So yeah, had a wonderful time, met some wonderful people, caught up with a lot of friends, family and all that. So yeah, bit of a shame.
And you went hunting Jeff?
Oh, Jeff, yes. I had to go. I've been into Jeff the Talking Mongoose. Google it if you haven't heard of him. And yeah, I had to go. It's been on my list for a long time to go to Cashin's Gap, which is the area where the Irvings family had their home, and it was visited by a mongoose that could talk, and they called him. His name was Jeff, and there was a movie recently about him, starring Simon Pegg. And so I took the trek. It was a good hour and a half long trek over hills and all that to get to the place, but finally made it to where the house stood. There's not much left there, of course. I found a well, and I found some patches of slate and rocks and bricks and things. There's not much there, but it was just nice to go there where the house stood. It was a nice little circle for me just to sort of go back and visit places that have meant a lot to me in the past. What else did we do? I'm Paranormal, Ruthven. Yeah, so thanks, Liam. Liam's a great guy, and his team, Lawrence and all them. I definitely recommend checking out Highland Paranormal. Just Google them and check them out if you're interested in the Scottish side of the paranormal and Scottish history, because Liam knows his stuff. He's absolutely a wealth of knowledge, and he's amazing to listen to. I could listen to him talk for hours. Also, I managed to get access to Boleskine House, which was a great thrill to check up on how that's going along now. I've spent a lot of many nights investigating Boleskine House when it was in its burnt out state. So it was really cool to get access while it's being redeveloped and rebuilt, and to check on how things are. So I wasn't allowed back into it because there's a working site, but I got to sort of roam around the outside, which was nice, and see how things are going. So I'm looking forward to getting back there in a couple of years, hopefully, and it'll be finished and ready to open to the public. Yeah, of course, I also went back to the Borley Rectory again, where the Borley Rectory stood, and the Borley Church, those iconic places. Paul from Ghosts on Trent. Hey, if you're watching, probably is watching actually. He took me out. I didn't get to meet Mark, the other half of Ghosts on Trent. He was working. He was too busy working. But Paul took me out, and we went to the Demon House. It's been dubbed the Demon House. This old farmhouse, brilliant, very cool place. We didn't get much activity. I think Paul's been there many times, as you know, with Mark, and I haven't really experienced anything. But all these other teams go in there and experience everything. So it was dubbed the Demon House. Those with apps get demons. Those without apps don't get demons. So it was just brilliant to go there, and Paul's a great guy. So I definitely recommend Ghosts on Trent. Check him out. Very good, honest paranormal investigation. They're one of the few YouTube channels that I follow that just are the real deal. They don't make stuff up. They don't fake. They just call it as it is. They just go out, wander through abandoned places and haunted locations, and just roll cameras and just see what happens. And oftentimes nothing much happens, but it's good to watch. I prefer watching those types of investigators doing their thing. I don't like the faked ones, really. Doesn't really appeal to me, but Ghosts on Trent, bit of the real deal. So check them out. It's getting dark in this room. During October, it's a bit of a slow process actually. I've been entrusted with a lot of the old archive case files from Murray Bott, who was the New Zealand representative for MUFON. He passed away a few years ago. He was a good friend of mine, and he just had a whole house that was just full of boxes of files, case files, UFO files, dating way back into the 40s, 50s. And so when he passed away, his huge storage lot of case files were entrusted to a good friend of mine, Peter Hassel, who was also another researcher. He's a UFO paranormal researcher based in Wellington. He's also a martial arts expert and stuntman. So he's been around, and he was a good friend of Murray's as well. So he took charge of all the case files. But because there's so much of it, I've scored half of it. So our basement is just full of boxes and boxes of files, of newspaper clippings, and all of Murray's work. It's incredible. Just suitcases and boxes full of just handwritten and typewriter printed files. So it's an amazing wealth of stuff. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but we have to sort of salvage it and try and save it and archive it somehow. We're going to eventually try and put it online. You know, there's thousands and thousands of sheets, but we'll try and scan it. So yeah, so that's quite exciting to sort of be given all that. Yeah, so fantastic. It's a bit of an honour. Halloween, we were back at the Lake House Art Centre for Halloween, and that was a crazy night. That was just, there would have been hundreds and hundreds of people there. So many people, wasn't there? It was just like far more than the year before. I'm sure of it.
So many fantastic costumes as well.
Yeah, we got chosen to be the judges for it, and that was a tough one. All these little wide-eyed kids looking at you in their little costumes, all wanting to be winners, and you had to like pick one or two.
They're awesome costumes.
It was great fun though. I enjoyed it. It was good. Yeah.
Of course, we also got to investigate afterwards as well, didn't we? On that night, which was kind of interesting. We had Kaya with us, And
so Kaya's my daughter.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we tried out that Estes. Was that the night, the Estes method?
Estes method, yeah.
Yeah, we tried that out, which was kind of interesting, I thought. Some interesting things coming out of what she said compared to what the the questions we were giving. I mean, it's not something that I've always bought into, especially when it comes to ghost boxes and things like that. But I think it was, for me, I think it's something that's worth looking a bit further into.
Oh yeah,
testing out. It's always good to test things out, and there's things that I would do differently next time. But yeah, it certainly opened up my eyes a little bit to it.
Yeah, I think and it will be good to go back there and continue to test in that same location with different people in different ways and play around with it and see what happens or doesn't happen. I think it's quite interesting. Yeah.
And especially when a lot of the answers that Kaya was giving correlated to what we think we know about the lake house as well. Names
which she doesn't know. Yeah. So she's not someone who sits and watches our videos or any of that stuff. I don't talk about it with her at home, that kind of thing. So that was what was interesting, and also just the answers she was giving at the time. She was giving them the number of times they actually aligned with the questions we were asking was slightly higher than I would have thought for statistical probability of just coincidence.
What was
it's definitely interesting.
Statistical probability? Did you
calculate
you're
asking me. Yes, exactly. Listen to you. I would think she would get at least one wrong, like out of every 25% of the time. I don't know. Everyone knows I hate math. Yeah.
And I guess for me, that's the beauty of having access to the lake house as well. That each time we go, we seem to sort of learn something new or try something different. And we always walk away with more questions than answers, but that's what keeps us going. And we're lucky to have regular access to a place like that. And it might not be the biggest place, but there's enough activity or alleged activity that keeps us going back and trying different things and experimenting.
Yes, we're very privileged to have the trust of all these historical locations. I mean, to let us sleep the night in historical locations, I mean, that's a rare thing. So it's good to, we've built up that reputation now where people just trust us. They know they can trust us. We've got a good reputation that spans back a long time. And it's just very honouring to be able to have that kind of trust given to you. And so far we have four locations that give us ongoing research time whenever we want it, pretty much. Like there's the Pump House Theatre, which we can go to pretty much any time. Most of the time we can't go there during when the productions are on, but we can go if we can go there if we stay away from the main stage and places like that where the productions are being set up. Lake House Arts Centre, we can go anytime we want, and we often spend the night. I stayed there the other night, and it's just the lake. What's the other one? Helensville Museum is another one that we have unlimited access. We've spent many nights there, and Waiuku as well. We can pretty much go back there anytime. They've said we can go back anytime and investigate, and so it's nice to have those sorts of locations that you can just keep going back to, because I believe personally that follow-up investigations and visits, regular visits, you start to become a bit more familiar to whatever might be there, and things start to happen. And that's been the case for many of the places that we've had ongoing access to. The old school in Parnell that we had, Sam, the old girls' school, we had that for 2 years, 20-something sessions, and with every session, things were happening ongoing. It was an amazing place. So it's good to have those places that you can keep going back to, keep researching. We're very lucky,
Definitely.
I think, to have that. Yeah. And of course, the lake house has a lot of things happening to it, doesn't it? It's we have lots of little bits and pieces, interesting little things happen, and
And
we like to think we can debunk them.
Each time something different, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just when you think you've got it figured out, something happens, and you can't quite pinpoint a reason for it or an explanation. Paranormal After Dark. Our mate from down Dunedin way, the roadie, has been inviting us on his show, Paranormal After Dark. It's a new show that he's running now, a new podcast. So he's a great guy, and we've hung out with him a few times now, and always good to hang out with the roadie. Hopefully I'll see him again later on this year when I go back down to Dunedin. And
I think he might be watching, actually.
Quite possibly. Are you there, Brian? But yeah, very inquisitive guy, always asking questions and very, very into it. So check out the Paranormal After Dark podcast. He's got all sorts of guests. He's got a lot of us on there as well. But he's looking for other guests to go on his show and talk about ghosts and the paranormal and UFOs and whatever. So check that out. December, we had our little Christmas party, our sort of annual team get together, which was good in the sunshine and eating and drinking and being merry and talking and nattering and having fun outside of the investigation sort of side of things. That's always good fun. And December 23rd, a couple of friends came from ex-Kiwis, well, they're Kiwis living over in California right now, Martin and his wife Stephanie. They have a paranormal team over in California called Golden State Paranormal, and they came back to New Zealand to spend time with their family. So I've hung out with Martin once before. He came over and I took him to the Lake House Art Centre, and he had a great time there. So he's back. So we took him to the Pump House this time around, and we had a great time there. So check out the video on our YouTube channel where we sort of interviewed them while we were there. So always fun to hang out with those guys. And it was a really good session, wasn't it, Sam?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm interested to see Martin tested out one of his gadgets, and I'm interested to see how that progresses. He was just making it, giving it as his maiden voyage, and I'd like to see further progress on that actual gadget because I think it was quite interesting. It was a sort of like a proximity sensor, wasn't it, Mark? Something to do with that.
Well, it was a different take on. It was a music box. It was a music box, but it was a different take on the usual standard music box. It had proximity sensors, and it also had didn't it have temperature as well?
I think that it may have had temperature. Yeah, it was temperature and it's some other sensor, and I can't quite remember what it was, but yeah.
It was like a souped up music box.
Yeah,
it was sort of pimped and upgraded, which was pretty good. I wouldn't actually mind trying one myself. If you're watching, Martin, you would like one. Thank you. Bring one next time you're over. Okay. Also, it always needs to be said, Sam, this year is the 10th year celebration, 10th year anniversary of Sam joining the team. So 10 years. So wanted to make special note of that. I don't know if you've seen the montage. There's a montage that we have on our YouTube channel with Sam there, doing some of the stuff that he did. Your first investigation was at the Puinui Centennial Hall.
The Puhoi Centennial Hall. You said Puinui.
Oh, Puhoi.
Another P word. Yeah. And that was an interesting night as well. I mean, I vaguely remember us all setting up, and then all of a sudden the lights just shutting down, and everyone went, "Oh," you know.
Yep.
But of course, we just had to flip the switch on the circuit breaker again, and then everything was back to normal. But yeah, I mean, for a first investigation, it's quite exciting for things like that to happen.
Well, they had some interesting reactions with the old the REM pods, weren't they? They were going off with.
Yeah.
We couldn't figure out how it was happening. One of the investigators that was there with us was only reacting to her.
Yeah.
So we would get up and leave the room, And when she was getting up to leave the room, it would suddenly flash and beep and go crazy. It was almost like it didn't want her to go. And so we would get up one by one and leave the room, and it wouldn't go off. As soon as she got up to leave the room, it went crazy.
Yeah.
And so we should go back in the room and it would stop. So we started thinking, okay, it's a REM pod. So is it being triggered by static? Is it being triggered by some sort of electrical charge somehow? So we got her to take her shoes off and her socks off, and it still kept doing it. She took her socks off. We even toyed with the idea of her getting naked in the room.
Everything in the name of science.
Without us there, of course, but completely clothesless to see. But she didn't do it, of course. Didn't do that. But it was interesting. It was just, we were all getting this weird vibe that, okay, there's something here that doesn't want her to leave. It just sort of felt like it. It really did feel like it. It felt intelligent, didn't it? It was just a weird experience. I couldn't figure it out. But it got to the point where we were sort of saying, have you got any piercings? Have you got a pacemaker? Have you got, that could be triggering this, and there was nothing. Her cell phone, there was no reason for it. And it was only when she would get up to leave the room.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe some people are just more statically charged than others.
Yeah, it was quite strange. And it was one of our early investigations, I think. It was 2014, wasn't it?
But otherwise, I was hooked after that. But still here 10 years later.
Yeah.
You're not going to get rid of me that easily.
Oh, how we've tried.
I don't scare that easily either. So
No. You're a good one, man. You're a good one.
Yep, thank you. And here's to 10 more years at least.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I'll be wheeling you around in a wheelchair, but we'll still be doing it.
Well, that'll be nice.
Lower him down the side of the cliff.
Yeah.
Wheelchair
put you on a winch.
On it.
Yeah, we'll still go visit the Bastion Point, but we'll have to sort of tie you up to a rope and then get down.
You kind of had a bit of
police system.
Kind of had a bit of a taste, didn't you? When I broke my arm, when I broke my arm, you had to look after me, and Barbara was peeling my chocolates. She was she went out. You brought chocolates along, and she was unwrapping chocolates for me.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's what a team does. You look after each other.
Yeah, gonna open unwrapped chocolates and.
Draw the line helping you go to the toilet, though.
Amy, yeah. No, she didn't want to do that. So I struggled. I struggled by myself.
Yeah,
it's all good. So that's the end of my list, actually. What do you guys reckon? It's been a busy year. I've actually enjoyed it.
There's a question that says, "Are you doing Parameet this year, Mark?"
I haven't been asked at this stage. I would love to go back, but I'm not too sure if we're going to be going back to the UK this year. It's very expensive for us, and we're not sure if we can afford it. We're actually thinking quite seriously about going back to Hawaii again, because I spent a bit of time in Hawaii quite a few years back. It must be nearly 10 years now. I don't know, 7 years or something like that. And we had a great time in Hawaii, and I got to meet up with Joe Pinohu, who runs the Haunted Hawaiian Hauntings there. And he took me out for a night, and I met some amazing people there. So I'm quite keen to get back to Hawaii, actually, and do some more investigating and exploring there. It's an amazing place. So we're thinking we might go back to Hawaii later in the year. I'm going to have to sort of bail on my UK friends, I think, this year. You're too expensive. You're draining me. Can't do it. But I would love to go to Parameet. Parameet, if you're
Natasha and I are also heading overseas.
Oh yes, that's right. You are too. Yes.
Boston.
You're going to Boston.
Yep, for Halloween to Salem for witch trials and all that fun jazz.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
we're going to be hanging out with Anne and Renata.
Yep. Frightfully good grannies, as they're known.
The ghost grannies, and Neil Story as well.
He's a lovely guy.
Hopefully we are going to Lizzie Borden's house. which would be very cool. And
I don't think we're staying there though. I think we're just
I think we're just visiting and investigating a bit. I think. And also, visiting the infamous Conjuring House. So
I already told my coworkers.
Not that I'm going with any preconceived notions, but I'm hoping to.
I already told my coworkers that I'm bringing home some demons.
Please do, because we'll research that.
Yeah,
I'm just going to let them loose in the office.
I'm going there hopefully. I have a terrible desire that I really want to debunk the Conjuring House videos, because all the tweens that I meet tell me about this amazing, what is it? Kobe and somebody's investigation.
Jason Hawes' daughter.
Yeah.
Check it out on
like,
YouTube.
I just
fully debunked.
Pay-per-view for our excellent footage.
Suddenly becomes very uncool to my daughter.
You're just trying to ruin her life.
Well, it'll take a team from little old New Zealand to go along and just run it for everybody else, won't it?
New Zealand, where?
So
about our Conjuring House.
Sam and Colby.
So there'll be many a cemetery that we meander through this year, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. Somebody was asking some questions. Hang on. Eileen says she'll lock me up in her spare room. Now, when you say lock me up, what do you mean by lock me up?
That sounds a bit
I do
suspicious.
Need to sightsee. Yeah.
He's a married man.
There's a dark side to Eileen.
Here's a big, deep and meaningful question from Liam. It says, is there any famous haunted house that is actually haunted? Woohoo! Well, Mark, you've been to most of them.
Depends what you claim as famous, I guess. Might be world famous in New Zealand.
Well, I mean... Well, let's go Ancient Ram Inn, Mark. Did you have anything in there?
No. Been there twice. Nothing happened. Nothing at all. I slept there twice. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
East Drive?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Chillingham, nothing. Very overrated. I think it depends on your level of belief, really, and knowledge of things. I mean, I think after a while, when you've been doing this for so many decades, I guess we could say now, you sort of start to learn a few things, and things like knocks and taps and creaks and things that just don't impress you anymore, and you learn what can make those sounds, and you start to just dismissing them, and they're just not paranormal. I don't use things like phone apps and spirit boxes and all that. I don't use that because I know how they work. I know how they can sort of create false positives. So I just don't want to sort of bring any of that into my own personal research, because there's that potential of false positives and misidentification and misinformation coming in and incorrect data coming back. So I try not to use any gadgets that could potentially throw me off the trail or give me sort of false information. So I guess, having said that, if I'm just there with my video cameras and one basic gadget, my chances of capturing something is going to be lessened. Unless I was somebody, if I was somebody like with an app or a spirit box that has that constant noise coming through that can be interpreted in some way. That makes sense. I don't know, but my style of investigation is pretty much just go there and just sit and just listen. And so I go there and I sit and I listen and I film, talk to myself, and in that time nothing's happening. And those are the sort of times you expect things to happen, when it's quiet, there's nothing happening, and you're not doing anything. So I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm the opposite of a ghost magnet. I don't know. I don't think I'm too skeptical, because I'm actually a believer. Believe it or not, I am a believer. I do believe in ghosts. I do believe they exist. So I'm going in there believing in ghosts and wanting stuff to happen, but it just doesn't seem to happen. And when you're going into some of the most haunted locations around the world, you can't expect something to happen, especially when you're hearing continual reports from teams all over the world that are experiencing things all the time. So who knows?
You should rent yourself
I'll
out to the Vatican. Rent yourself out, and you can just go to all these exorcisms, and it'll just be gone. It'll be great.
Could be a timing thing as well.
You'll sit there, and there'll be no demons.
I'll come back a changed man.
Yeah.
I feel different.
Could be a timing thing as well. I mean, who knows how long a haunting lasts for? You know, maybe there's a time limit, and you hear these stories of what did happen, and maybe it just doesn't happen anymore. Maybe those spirits have moved on.
Well, I mean, I've been to places where I'll be told by the owners that, oh, you should have been here last night. Last night was just off the charts. It was amazing last night. There was so much activity last night. And then I'll go, nothing will happen. And then the very next night, I'll hear back from other people that said, oh, man, we went on that night, and it was just so amazing. So I find it's interesting that when you're there by yourself, because usually when I go to these places, I'm by myself. I'm not totally alone, just me in the building. Nothing happens. But when you go with a group of people, more than one, like whether it be a ghost tour or just a whole team or another couple of teams, that's when the activity starts. So is it because of all those people being there? Is there potential of false information coming through with people tapping and people making body noises that have been misinterpreted? I don't know. But when you're there by yourself, nothing happens. And I found that same at Arrowdale when I was sitting in those rooms by myself. I think you were the same, Sam, you commented?
Yeah.
At Arrowdale Jail, you're sitting in a whole building by yourself in the dark in one of the most haunted places in Australia, and nothing happens. But when you've got other people there with you, you start hearing sounds. Having said that, when I was at the lake house the other day, there were sort of what sounded like footsteps above and all that. So whether that's paranormal, I don't know.
That's very common for the lake house, especially if you sleep over.
Yeah, so maybe in certain places I am experiencing certain things that could be paranormal, like the lake house with the footsteps. Maybe they are footsteps. They sound like footsteps to me. But then I go to the Ancient Ram Inn, and maybe I'm just missing stuff. Maybe things are happening that I'm just not seeing because I'm not looking in the right direction, or I'm in the wrong room at the wrong time. Maybe it's just
might be your accent.
Maybe they just don't understand me.
No, it's the Ancient Ram, not the Ancient Ram.
Ancient Ram. Ancient Ram. Yeah, I think Eileen says the same, didn't she? She said something about the Ancient Ram and Ace Drive. Didn't do anything for her. Yeah, but then I listened to some of my favorite YouTubers, the Ouija brothers. Old Steve from the Ouija brothers. They in their eyes, they've been to the East Drive so many times. It's their favorite place. They believe it's the most haunted place that they've ever been to, and that they've had so much activity that they fully believe it, and they keep going back there. They've done so many sessions there, and I trust their opinions, and they are, in my opinion, real deal investigators. They don't fake stuff, and they just experience things as they happen. And for them to say that the East Drive is pretty much the most haunted place they've actually been to, I find that weird. It's because I haven't experienced, and many other people have experienced nothing as well. So I don't know. Maybe it's just timing.
Could be just timing. Right.
Yeah, maybe it is. Any questions from anybody? How long have we been going for?
An hour and a half almost.
Yep. 12 people in the chat.
That's good. Just thanks, Steve. A loyal few. So where's everybody from? Those the 12, the 13 that I'm seeing in the chat. 13 there. Where's everybody from? I know Eileen's from Edinburgh. Bex is from down south. Lawrence is Inverness. we would like to know, is there a location in New Zealand that our followers would like us to go and visit? And we can try and get in there. We do have a little bit of pulling power these days, so there is a chance we can get into places. But so if there is a certain location that you'd like us to investigate that we haven't done yet, or maybe there's a place that we've done that you would like us to go back to, we can try and do that, because we like to hear what people think and people's opinions on things.
Vicky's suggesting Hawke's Bay. You might have to give us some specific ideas separately, Vicky. Where you're thinking in particular. You just want us to come out with you, don't you?
Oh, I'd love to go and hang out with Vicky again. That would be cool.
Tess is saying Waikato, which is great, because that's basically where I live, so I'm quite happy with it.
Me too, but a bit more specific.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in the Waikato? It's a big area.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a question from Bex. It's quite an interesting one. Do you believe that collective energy is a possibility rather than ghosts in places where extreme medical procedures happened? Question mark.
Big question. I don't know.
Well, I guess, that can sort of correlate to maybe theatres and things like that. There's a lot of haunted theatres, and there's a lot of high energy in places like that when there's, shows going on, lots of clapping, performances, high energy, that sort of thing. Maybe that's a relation to something feeding off that sort of energy, creating a haunting of sorts. I don't know so much about hospitals because we don't get a lot of time in active hospitals, or abandoned ones for that matter. But I think there's possibly something to that, where energy, high energy places do leave an imprint.
One thing I find interesting is I am known to be quite drawn to mental asylum facilities and that sort of stuff, and jails, and I think it's that ease of very high energy in the place that you feel like you've got more potential, that you might come across something or whatever in that almost that placebo effect a little bit. But I've in the last last year I actually changed professions, and now my new role means that I am actually in some secure facilities that house people that previously would have been in some of these locations like Kingseat, etc. And it's quite fascinating, because when I am in them and the people are there, that feeling is very different. I get a lot of feelings of, you need to leave, you don't want to be there. Whereas when I go to the old, abandoned, falling down places, you can't get me in there fast enough. I really want to be in there. And I find that really interesting, that I'm drawn to the empty places full of energy, but the current places full of current energy is different. I get more negative feelings than I do in these places that are supposedly haunted. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people, they find haunted locations scary. I don't. But yeah, I'm still trying to process that through at the moment. And it gives you conflicting feelings now when I go into those old abandoned facilities as well, knowing that I'm working with the same people that would have been there, same sorts of people. Oh, that's a good question, Kelly Bale. Do you think things like ghost boxes put out infrasound and that is giving people experiences?
Could always
Always a
test
possibility.
it. If we have one, we could always check it.
I guess close range maybe. Not at a distance. I don't think they're powerful enough to sort of cause any major sort of vibration. Or
I think the problem with sort of ghost boxes and stuff is everyone is so concentrating on listening what they think they're going to hear or whatever, that they're no longer listening to anything else going in the room or whatever. And so if there is a bump, or you're not quite listening to it the same way, the taps or whatever else, and you're expecting to hear certain things. And so that ghost box takes over the investigation and completely directs, because whatever it says, you're trying to make it fit. And it just sends you off on this tangent, you know?
Except when you're on Norfolk Island, it's essentially radio silence, except for like 2 radio stations and what sound like a Russian numbers station.
Yeah, I talked to Brian about that on the roadie show. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're trying to make things fit and make sense. It could work, or it could be just random stuff, and being humans, we try and make patterns out of things. It's just how our brains work to try and understand the world around us. So you're trying to make whatever's coming through on a spirit box or whatnot fit where you are, the location, who you're with, who's potentially haunting it. So there's a lot of uncontrollable factors. The infrasound is quite interesting, because if you ever want to experience infrasound, go to, it's a public place, so you can go to the lookout at Glenbrook Steel Mill in New Zealand. Go to the lookout and go stand and look at the mill and stay there for a period of time. You can feel the infrasound coming off there. It's a very interesting hum.
Interesting.
So Vicky's
Vicky.
asking, sorry,
Go
you
on.
go on. Yeah.
No, you go.
She's asking, how are the dolls going in your room, Mark?
Well, they're not going anywhere very fast. I don't know if I can. Hang on, I'll just yeah, I'll just do a little. What can I do? Some lighting here. Is it? I don't know if you can see that. There's a few there. Mr. Smiley is keeping an eye on them over there. There he is. They don't really do much. I mean, I've got, but I have actually got a lot of them in big Tupperware plastic containers at the moment. They're packed away. I had to sort of make some space in the room a while back. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess. I'm looking for a museum space. If anybody else got any spare space in their historic hotel or something that they want to some haunted, cursed objects in, that would be nice. The wife wants them out. I've got a lot of crap here apparently. Yeah. So people give me
The crying boy's
and...
not burnt your house down yet?
No. Well, the house. No, this apparently, according to was it folklore, if the house does burn down, this room will be saved. Won't it?
Oh, excellent.
Because
I'm sure your wife will appreciate that.
Yeah, this is the one that survives. This room here.
Yes.
I've got three
Her
crime boys in
room. Yeah. Keep all your personal documents in that room then. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But so far so good. I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking, well, I've got too much stuff here now, and what am I going to do with it? And it's not exactly flying around the room, as you can see. There's nothing really happening. And I set up cameras, and the amount of hours I spend looking at those cameras, waiting for something to happen in here, and it doesn't. So you get to the point where you think, maybe I should just send the rest of it off to Liam in Scotland, because he's got one of my dolls at the moment. Lawrence, you're online. Shall I send everything in this room to Inverness? If anybody's got a place that they have a premises, business with a foyer that I could set up some display cabinets, or a basement that they're not using that we could use as a little mini museum. I've got a lot of haunted ritual objects as well. Yeah, it needs a home. It needs to be seen. It's just sort of, it's not being appreciated here. It's just sort of in a room jammed up. But yeah, I'd like to display it somewhere.
Might have to talk to Jane Thorne. At Waiuku.
One of the museums? Yeah, well, they've got space. Well, Waiuku would be the perfect place for it, because it's such a brilliant, eclectic mix of stuff there.
Yep.
Whether they'd go for the whole haunted, cursed object stuff, I don't know.
You could have a little shop front in the walk-through shop, and the haunted shop.
Or you could say, touch this doll and you die.
Cover it in a bit of dust.
But
fraction in no time.
that's one weird thing about New Zealand. We have a huge amount of doll collection, like museum things, randomly around New Zealand. It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
Like all these creepy dolls crammed into a tiny room. Oh, if you ever down Katikati Way, there is a pancake cafe. There's also a doll house, like not a doll house, but it's filled with hundreds of creepy looking dolls in this tiny little room. They do really good pancakes, but they also got a creepy doll collection there as well.
If you're ever in the mood for a doll and a pancake,
yeah,
yeah.
And 3 pancake houses is the best. You can skip the dolls if you know if you're like looking at some dolls.
Oh, Eileen, did I really deserve that?
Mm-hmm.
Eileen calling me Mark Zach Wallbank. Lol. How rude. Yeah, so I'm looking for a space, while I'm putting it out there. Looking for a space that I can have a little museum of oddities and haunted objects that people can go and visit and look at and appreciate. Right. I think is that about it? I think we've covered the whole year, actually. Oh, Amy's gone.
Yeah.
Maybe she was tired.
Internet, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, she's gone off for a wee. Eileen says I need a tighter t-shirt. Yeah.
And irregular possession.
Oh, her Wi-Fi just cut out. Oh, no.
Yep.
Okay, that's a sign. That's a sign. Amy's Wi-Fi cut out. Demons.
Haunted Wi-Fi.
Obviously demons.
Ghost Wi-Fi disappeared.
Is she in a haunted hotel?
Don't know where she is, to be honest. She could be anywhere, and she could be in a hospital. She could be one of the hospitals down there.
She could be in a psych ward. Would not know. Yeah, Vicky, we're keen to come back down to the Hawke's Bay. So if you can think of any places there, we'd like to come out with you again. Not sure what I know you're busy with your driving and all that at the moment, but yeah, if you want to hang out, if you want to do an investigation, let's do it. I'm keen. And anybody else in New Zealand too. Hey, we road trip quite often, so we're always traveling around the place. So if you've got a haunted location somewhere around the country, just let us know. And there's a chance that one of us or all of us or some of us may be able to make our way up or down, come and see you. We do quite a bit of road tripping around the place, and yeah, we enjoy doing it. So gets us out of the house, and yeah, we had one planned for this weekend actually, which sort of fell through. That was going to be.
We got another one.
Oh, we got another one. We got a backup plan B, so it worked out all right. So I was looking forward to getting into Sam's new car and going for Hoon.
Yeah.
Nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
You're still coming quite fast.
Listening to my eclectic playlist.
Yeah. I think from, was it Rob Zombie to 80s rubbish? The bad side of 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can't go wrong with AC/DC.
Can't go wrong with AC/DC.
No.
I'm on a bit of a retro synth thing at the moment. So that's what I'm playing in the car.
Retro synth?
Retro synth.
Like the old new wave stuff?
Yep.
Very good. Very good. I recommend Cabaret Voltaire. Bit of yellow. Bit of fade to grey.
Yep.
Spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, all good stuff. Safety dance.
Men Without Hats. They did a return version of that, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's reformed and he's doing his thing. Okay, all right. Well, Amy can't get back in now. She's having problems with Wi-Fi. She's actually in a hotel. She's in a hotel in Wellington, actually, for work. So that's where she was. And, yeah. Yeah, Vicky. Vicky's from Napier Paranormal Society, so do check her out for anything paranormal in the Hawke's Bay. Just to recap on some of the other groups I want you to check out. YouTube-wise, go to Ghosts on Trent. The Ouija Brothers is another good one. Totally recommend those two. Go to Highland Paranormal. It's another one to check out on Facebook. Paranormal Path. Jacqueline Dixon, who runs Paranormal Path. It's a really good podcast, and it's a really good. She does some amazing stuff. Eileen, of course, from Phantom Seekers Paranormal. Do check them out. Amazing bunch of people. Rigger from Scottish Paranormal Investigations. Yeah, all great people. All worth checking out. And you guys got any recommendations? Any teams or channels that you guys want to recommend? Sam, Natasha?
Paranormal New Zealand. Check us out if you haven't already.
So good. They're so much better than that Haunted Auckland, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
We haven't really done it.
Was so overrated.
We haven't done any like collabs with anybody. Like we've tried to meet up with some groups, but I don't know.
Well, I'm keen to get back to Wellington and do some more with James, old Jamesy, and Bruce in Dunedin. He's a good guy. We need to do something with him. And the good old Clint. Old Clint, he's around and he's keen. So plenty of teams. There's a lot to choose from. And we've got the nobodies. Good old Marlene and Rob. Good to hang out with them again. Marlene's always good value. Yeah. Okay. Oh well. I think we've lost Amy now.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. And that's been our year in a nutshell, pretty much. And we've already kicked off the new year. It's been quite busy so far. We've got quite a few things on the boil, just waiting to confirm a few dates and things, and a couple of events here. We'll throw a couple of events here and there into the mix. And there's one coming up on February 23rd. We're at the Pump House Theatre, so do come along to that. That's always great fun. And we've got a few others planned, and a couple of others planned in months coming after that. We'll be heading back to the Waiuku Museum again for another event, and also back to the Helensville Museum for another event. We're just confirming a few things there. So yeah, exciting times. I'll be working on, what have we got coming up? I'll be working on another book for the new year, so expect another book from me. Lots of adventures.
Definitely.
Looking forward to it. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys, let's just nip it in the butt right there and log off. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks to all that joined us.
Thank you for listening and your questions.
Yeah, so stay in touch. For those that aren't up with the play, we've changed our name. We used to be Haunted Auckland. We decided to go through a bit of a name change to better encompass what we do as a team. So we've now changed our name to Paranormal NZ or Paranormal New Zealand. So that's our new name now. But for a while, we're going to be sort of doing the transition. So it'll be Paranormal New Zealand, formerly Haunted Auckland, or just like that, just to sort of wean us over to the new name. But yeah, we are Haunted Auckland, transitioned into Paranormal New Zealand or Paranormal NZ. So keep that in mind. We're still the same team, still the same fun peeps, and still doing our thing, just a different name. So thanks a lot for joining us. Sam, you got your finger on the old stop button there.
I do indeed.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys, and we'll catch up with you online. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.